new coach come in, we'll find a way like we always do.
Thank you. Enjoy the off season as much as you can.
Appreciate it, bro.
Hey, Devin, how do you guys and you yourself, how do you process last night and then start to move forward into the off season here over the next week?
Honestly, I'm still trying to process it. Still don't seem real, but reality is just we're gonna have to process it. It's just looking back, you gave it your all, but of course it's something that could have been done for us to win. And once you process that and look yourself in the mirror and see what has to be worked on and whatever it may be, get ready to move forward because a new year is coming. So basically what I'm saying is I still need time to process it.
Yeah, I totally understand that and get that. What do you think is next for this offense based on what you guys showed everybody last night?
Man, great things. I could say that we put some good things on tape last night. It's just tough, but we can build off it. That's all I'm gonna say. We can build off it.
I like that. And then final question for me, Devin. I mean, the way that you ended the regular season and went into the postseason, you were very productive for this offense. So I know you're probably still processing everything, but what are you most proud of in what you did this season and what you put on tape?
Just leaving it all out there on the field for my teammates. Just always bringing positive energy, great energy, and having that rub off on my teammates. That's what I'm most proud of, to be honest.
Thanks, Devin. Enjoy the off season.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Devin, good to see you. Can you speak to how much love there is in the locker room and the bond that you all share?
Man, it's major love, man. Just over time, as you go through things with guys, you get closer and closer. You have more real combos, which leads to bringing you even closer, and then just going through all the hard work, all the ups and downs together. Man, it's so much love in the locker room, and definitely one of the best locker rooms I've ever been in my life. So yeah.
Do you worry at all about how this roster will change in the offseason, knowing that you guys felt you had a championship caliber team this year?
That's just a part of the business, bro. Can't worry too much about it. Of course, you don't want to see it change, but it's going to be some changes here and there to it. That's just the nature of the business, bro.
All right. Thank you. Have a good offseason.
Sure.
Hey, Devin, AJ Feldman here in Rochester. Josh Allen, the 2 weeks in the playoffs, played about as well as you could possibly expect. Just how can you kind of put into words the performance he put out there in the playoffs?
Man, that's a guy that put it all on the line for his teammates. Not only that, he did it at a high level. Gave us a chance to win. And that's just Josh, man. That's him day in and day out. I'm not surprised. But that just shows, what he's willing to do for his team and the guys that he loves.
You've got the quarterback. You've got a really talented team around him. You can kind of expect to be back, but at the same time, you never really know when you're going to get a chance like you had last night. What do you have to do in the offseason to make sure that next time you're in that opportunity, you're able to take advantage of it and pull out a win?
Man, back to the drawing board. Like I said, it's always something that you can improve at. And, man, just know, it's going to get harder. Like, your workouts got to be harder. The way you prepare has to be harder. It's just all about going harder, bro. That's what it's going to come down to.
All right, Devin, thanks for your time.
That's all for today. Thanks, Devin. Hey, Dawson, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, we'll get started with questions, and Mark will have our first question.
Okay, Dawson, I realize it's might be hard to be a little reflective here so soon after the loss, but just what do you think, looking back on the season, about the success you had, with all the work you've done with catching and tennis balls and the eye thing? Just what do you think, looking back on the season, how that worked for you?
It's just the consistency of training your eyes, getting with Josh, just trusting your hands. That's all it is, just doing the right thing every day, finding a good routine for yourself, and then just developing that confidence. It's not much more than that.
And then lastly, you led the NFL tight ends, or tied for the lead in touchdown catches. What do you think about that?
I feel like I made a good jump from last year to this year, but I feel like I'm far from where I want to be as a tight end. I feel like I'm, just scratching the surface, and I want to keep going. I want to make another jump going into next year, and just doing whatever our team needs.
Thank you, Dawson. Appreciate your help.
Thanks, Mark.
Hey, Dawson, as you guys begin to kind of close the chapter on this season, how do you process yesterday and then start to move forward to the off season?
Yeah. There's not much to be said. Everybody kind of feels the same way. It was devastating. But, everything that happens can be turned into something good in the future. I think it's going to be a good foundation for us. Obviously, last year was devastating too. So we had, hopes for something different this year. I think that the difference, though, between this game this year and the playoff game last year is pretty dramatic. Just to see the results that we got and how close we were. But, I think we just plan on continuing to build from here. Rome wasn't built in a day, and we want to continue to trust that process. Right now, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to go find a beach somewhere, get football off our minds, rest, recover, and just mentally kind of reset, and then look back at the game and learn from it, and then just take it for what it is and keep building on this incredible franchise everyone's been building.
Yeah, building off of that, you say, Rome wasn't built in one day, and you guys get to welcome back a lot of familiar faces to this roster next season. So knowing that you will probably have a lot of the offense still intact and have some new faces as well, where do you think this offense can go from here based on how you guys really finished this season?
Yeah, I don't think there's any limit to where we can go. The ceiling's so high for us. Everybody started to see what we're capable of. Everything started kind of rolling for us. Everything started clicking from the offensive line. The motors running game has been incredible. Obviously, our receivers are ridiculous. Gabe, 4 touchdowns in a playoff game is. I told him before the game we were going to combine for 3, and we combined for 4. So I like messing with him about that. But and when you got 17 on your team, you got a chance to win every game you're in. Everyone's seen what he can do. He's like a video game creative player. It's ridiculous. So we're just going to keep building on what we got here as an offense, and I think the sky's the limit for us.
Thanks, Dawson. Go find a beach.
Thanks, Backlap.
Hi, Dawson. It's Jay with the Buffalo News. I apologize if it's loud. I'm in an airport here. You mentioned building on what you accomplished this year and taking that next step. What does that look like in your mind? What do you have specific tangible goals that you want to work on this offseason to take that next step?
Yeah, that's something that I'll start developing over the next few weeks. Nothing specific right now. Right now, my first goal is to reset mentally, just get my body right and my mind right. Go home, see friends and family, kind of push the season aside and just have a breath of fresh air and just kind of move on. So that's goal number 1. And then I'll just start evaluating where I want to be for next year, kind of as this offseason goes on. But it'll be very much the same process that I started last offseason. Clearly, it worked for me a little bit. But like I said earlier, I don't think I'm anywhere close to where I want to be as a player. And I think, it's just the tip of the iceberg for my game right now. And I want to just keep being that reliable weapon that, adds whatever it needs to the offense in order to win games.
Your development as an every down tight end, I don't know in terms of playing time where you finished among tight ends, but it had to be close to the top of the league. I mean, you were in every situation, every down. How do you feel like you've developed as a blocker? Because that's a big role for an every down tight end. And then specifically in terms of drops, which was something that, I'm sure you would admit that you wanted to work on and seemed to largely clean up. So those two areas in particular in your game, blocking and sure-handedness in terms of receptions, how much progress did you feel like you made and are still want to make?
Yeah. Ever since I got to the league, I've said that I wanted to be the 3-down tight end that never comes off the field. I don't want to ever be on the sidelines, especially in crucial situations, and that means I got to be a good blocker. I think there's 3 major parts to being a well-rounded, great tight end, and that's running routes, catching the ball, that's run blocking, and that's pass protection too. And I feel like I've made a big jump in those areas as well. But having a coach like Rob Boris has been incredible. Kind of the run blocking game started with him and Lee over my first 2 seasons. And then this year, the game just felt like it started slowing down a little bit, just knowing our scheme immediately when I get to the line, knowing who I'm blocking, knowing who I'm working with on any double teams, reading coverage, just starting to become second nature. And then catching the ball too. I mean, this offseason, I found a good routine for myself, and I plan to just keep building on that. And a lot of that's confidence too, and just timing with Josh and having his confidence in me as well. So it's just something that we just want to keep building on the foundation that we've set, because I feel like it's only the beginning.
Lastly, for me, and I appreciate your time, Brian Daboll, I'm sure you're aware, is interviewing for head jobs. There's a lot of speculation about what may happen with him. What has he meant for your career? And then, I know this is a hypothetical, but, if he were to take one of those jobs, I'm sure, of course, you'd be happy for him, but what could that potentially mean for this offense?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Daves is incredible. Just the way he has confidence in us as players, and he's just a real dude. I mean, you're never going to get kind of gray answers with him. You're never going to get him kind of dancing around the point. He's going to give it to you straight, whether it's good or bad. He's going to be real with you, and everyone loves him for who he is. And obviously, he's led this offense to be an incredible position by the end of the season. I think that first playoff game this year was the first ever perfect offensive game in NFL history, and that's a huge testament to him and the offense that he's installed here over the last few years. So, if he does end up somewhere else, I wish him all the best. Like, he deserves everything that he'll get and more. Obviously, selfishly, we want to keep him here. He's shown that he's an elite offensive coordinator. But if he does end up somewhere with a head coaching job, I think there wouldn't be a single person in this building that would wish something bad for him. Everyone loves Daves. Everyone wishes the best for him. So we're excited for the future for him, whatever that might be.
Appreciate your time all year, Dawson. Thanks. Enjoy some downtime.
Thanks, Jay.
Hi, Dawson. I know there's a lot to still take in from yesterday's loss, but when you look back on the entire season and when you kind of put it all into a picture, how would you best describe just the way that the team played overall this year and all throughout heading up to this point?
Yeah, I think what really started clicking for us was that second half of the Tampa Bay game. Just kind of lit a fire under us, started feeling some momentum, having fun again on the sidelines. I think that's something that's huge in football that people don't really talk about. It's having fun. It's trusting in the brother that's next to you, playing for each other, just for the love of the game and for the love of everybody in your huddle. So just getting back to the basics, getting back to that love of the game and just having fun on the field was huge for us. And that kind of showed itself over the last, 5 or 6 games. Obviously, we came up short and no one ever plans on that. But I think we have set a good foundation here. And we only plan on elevating that bar, elevating the standard over the next couple of years.
Now, Josh Allen last year, I know that it was kind of his coming out party, and a lot of people, there were some people that had the thought and suspicion that, you know, maybe it was a flash in the pan sort of season. But this year, I think he silenced a lot of doubters in terms of just, you know, it's not just a one-year wonder for Josh. But what would you say about this season for Josh and just kind of how he proved the doubters wrong?
Yeah, it's always funny to me when I hear people doubting Josh. It's, you know, if you're still doubting him at this point, I don't know if you know anything about football. You know, no offense to anybody that, I don't know, but he's an MVP caliber player, and he's shown that every game that we played. I mean, he's making incredible plays left and right. Sometimes you just got to sit back and watch the replay on the Jumbotron. Like, did that really just happen? There's a couple plays where I'm getting to watch him run around like, holy cow, this dude's my size, jumping over, you know, safeties and then stiff arming DNs while making touchdown throws, falling to the ground. But, you know, he's just an incredible dude off the field too. I mean, he's like a brother. He's like a best friend. There's not a single person in this building that doesn't love that guy. He's worth every penny. He probably even took a discount, which sounds crazy, but he probably could be making more, but he took a discount to be here because he loves this place. He loves the team, and he's a team first guy, and he always will be. He's never going to be that cocky, me first, superstar ego guy, even though he could be. But, you know, he's our guy. He's our leader. He's our general. You know, we hope to be playing with him for a long time.
Thanks, Dawson.
Yeah. Thanks, Brady.
Hey, Dawson, it's Catherine. I hope you can hear me okay and appreciate your time all season. To follow up on that, just, you know, what did you see out of Josh last night? And is there anything you say to him after a game like that where he plays the way he does, but it doesn't go the way y'all wanted?
Yeah, I mean, just he's put on a show, you know, game in, game out. So there's not much to be said. I mean, everyone knows how incredible of a player he is. You know, obviously there's a player or two here and there you might want back, but we know that he's in here for the long haul. You know, we have his back through everything, through the ups and downs. You know, playing with him, there's going to be a lot more ups than downs, which is always exciting to be on the field with a guy like that. But like I keep saying, like, this is just the foundation. This is just the start of something special we got going here. And we just want to continue to build on the momentum that we've set. And, you know, we don't want to come up short again. We felt what that has tasted like over the last 3 years. And we want to break down that door instead of just knocking at it.
In an earlier answer, you mentioned seeing Motor, Gabe Davis have, you know, the seasons that they had. What did you see of what they were doing, whether it was in practice and preparation, that really enabled those guys to have years like they did?
Yeah. Those guys they do everything right on and off the field. They're great dudes too. I mean, there's really no one in this locker room that you want to go get a bite to eat with after practice. Everyone's down to earth. Gabe is one of the funniest dudes I know. You know, all the success they have is very much deserved. They work as hard, if not harder, than everybody else in the off season. But yeah, I mean, it goes to show you what you do for the whole year shows up on Sundays. And those guys do it right. And that starts, you know, it doesn't start today, but that work will start over the next couple weeks. Like I touched on earlier, it's important to kind of get your legs back under you, enjoy some time with family, take a couple vacations. But I know those guys will get right back to work and keep building on the success they had this year.
And then when you mentioned Brian Daboll and how he's, you know, willing to have hard conversations with guys, tell you exactly what it is. Has he had any with you that really stand out where you're like, okay, that was hard to hear, but here's what I'm going to do to build off of it, and in a way you saw it translate to the field?
Yeah. I mean, just after last year, just exit meetings last year, we just had a real conversation. Like, I needed to be more consistent. They wanted to rely on me more, and they needed me to be more of a player than what I was last year. So that stuck with me. I remembered that through the whole off season, and I tried to become what they needed me to be as a tight end for this offense. And it was fun meeting with him today, just knowing that he was happy with where I was as a player, because his opinion means the world to me. Because I know that he's a real dude. I know that he's gonna, give you a straight shot answer about anything you go to him with. And he's the type of guy too you can go to him with off the field issues. It doesn't even have to be football related, and he's gonna help you out. So obviously we wish him the best. Hope he stays. But it has been fun to develop into the player that he wanted me to be in the offense.
Thanks, Dawson. Always appreciate your insight.
Thanks, Catherine.
Hey, Dawson, thanks for taking the time. Again, appreciate all you've done this season. Can you speak on the brotherhood in the locker room and the bond that you guys share?
Yeah. Coming in from college, I expected it to be a very individualized game compared to what it was in college. In college, it kind of feels like a family. Ole Miss was awesome for me. Coaches were great. Guys were going out to eat all the time together, partying on the weekends, hanging out truly in the off season. But when I got here, I was expecting individualized people with their egos. But it wasn't like that at all. There isn't a single guy in our locker room that isn't like a brother. We all love each other. We play for the love of the game. And we play for the love of the guy that's next to us. So whether it's, a guy on defense, special teams, everybody loves each other on this team. And it's special. And you can see that on the field too. And that works wonders for us. When we're out there on the road, we know it's only us there on the sidelines playing for each other. That love for each other really comes out. And I think it did over the course of the season. And I think it's just going to keep getting better too.
With that, do you worry at all about how this roster will change in the offseason, knowing that you guys felt that you had a championship caliber team this year?
No, I mean, it'd be easy to worry about things that are out of your control, but I've kind of learned to, you just can't let yourself worry about things that you can't control yourself. It's been a big learning experience for me. I'm going to focus on what I can control. Whatever 53-man roster we got to start next season is going to be the players that we got. Obviously, you want to hold on to everyone, but that's not realistic. I know there'll be some great pieces that we add, and there'll be some incredible guys that we lose. That's just the nature of the NFL. But you wish you could keep everybody. But that's just something that you just got to wait and see what happens. And whoever we got lining up next to us to start next season are going to be the guys that we go to war with. And I'm sure it'll be more than enough.
Thank you. Enjoy your off season. Go find that beach.
Thanks, Dante. Yeah, I will.
Hey, Dawson, AJ Feldman here in Rochester. You touched on Gabriel Davis a little bit. And, next year, if he's asked to take on a bigger role, depending on who's here and things of that nature, how confident are you that he's shown down the stretch that he would be able to take on that bigger role if he's asked for it next season?
Yeah, he's gone through a roller coaster this year, from being a huge touchdown scorer, contributor, to being a guy that's getting 10 snaps a game. It's been very, very up and down for him. So to have the results that he had at the end of the year is just a huge credit to who he is as a guy, who he is as a player, and the work he puts in. He never knew when his number was going to be called. And then last night to score 4 touchdowns in a playoff game for the first time I think any receiver's ever done that in a playoff game. That just speaks for itself. There's not much I have to say about it. Everybody sees Gabe's game and is impressed by it, but nobody really sees the work that he puts in behind the scenes. And it's up there with the best of them. And this was only year 2 for him, and he's just going to keep getting better.
You've got, the quarterback, the foundation to get back to this point. But at the same time, it's the NFL. You're never sure what's going to happen. What do you have to do in the offseason to make sure that, like you said, next time you're getting that opportunity, you knock down the door instead of just knocking on it?
Yeah, there's a lot of little things that could have gone our way that didn't. each game is just a life of its own. There's not really one specific thing that you can change that'll change the outcome to every game that you play. But it's just going to be the consistent hard work. We got to, just trust that same process that we've been installing here. You can't relax at all. I think, again, like last year, this is just going to be a fire that continues to light this locker room and this team, this franchise, to push us to greater things, because no one wanted it to end like it did last night. And we were it's insane how close we were, and to feel that, feel how close we were to a home AFC championship game and not get there was devastating. But that's just going to be something that continues to motivate us through next year.
All right. Thanks, Dawson. Enjoy the offseason.
Thanks, AJ.
Hey, Dawson. I was curious. You've mentioned a couple times that, the second half of the Tampa Bay game was when, the offense really started clicking and guys were going on the sideline and all that. Why do you think it took until that point for the offense to kind of reach where it ended up going?
You said the Tampa Bay game?
Yeah. Like, why did it take, what about that time, or why did it take until that point for the offense to really get to its peak it could be at?
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't, I'm sure there's some analysts that can tell you what we did and what we weren't doing. But all I know is something clicked for us, and we started having fun playing football again. We started trusting each other more, and we started just leaning on each other, knowing that everyone's going to be doing their jobs when they're supposed to be doing them. So it's not really one specific thing you can look at, but it is something that you can feel that's tangible. So we felt that second half of the Bucs game, and it just kind of propelled us, kind of sparked that fire that led us on through the rest of the season.
Did it feel like there was guys weren't having fun on the sideline before that, or was it just there was something about that specific game that it ramped up?
It definitely ramped up that game. I think there were just so many ups and downs throughout the season that it was kind of we're kind of just in the dumps of everything. Oh gosh, we lost to a team that we shouldn't have lost to. It was a roller coaster, but that was kind of a turning point, because we were all right, it's go time now. We felt the right energy. We need to bring that back and, just build on what we did that second half. And I think we did that. I think that was something that you could feel, and it's not really something you could put your finger on, but there are emotions that go on the sideline that people can really feel, and we just let that carry us through the rest of the season.
And then one last for you, just on a personal note, I know you kind of mentioned where you're going to work on stuff this off season and all that. Are you able? I know it's very fresh and all that. Are you able to at all appreciate the season you had and the offense had, or when does that come? Is that later in the off season for you?
Yeah. I've already touched on it a couple of times. I'm going to chill over the next couple of weeks, reset mentally, get my legs back under me, make sure everything's all healed up, ready to go to start training for next season. But games like that are always going to be in the back of your mind. I think that's a good thing. It's going to be something that motivates us to work that much harder, to where when we get to that point next season, the result will be different ultimately. So, but over the next couple of weeks, goal number one is just to enjoy the off season, relax, and get the mind right for what's coming up.
Thanks, Dawson. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you too.
That's all for today. Thank you, Dawson.
Thanks, Kelly.
Hey, Gabe, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. We'll get started with questions, and Kim will have our first question.
Hey, Gabe, it's Kim Jones from NFL Network. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. I've talked about you on the network many times since your rookie season when I saw you for the first time at training camp. And I just wonder, when you look back so freshly on last night. How do you describe that performance and the opportunities you had to have that performance?
I just can't do nothing but thank God for the opportunities that I had that I was able to execute on. And, whenever any of our numbers are called, we have to make the play. And luckily my number was called a lot, and I was able to make the plays when they were coming to me.
How did you stay so patient, seemingly? I'm not in the locker room, obviously, and I'm not in Buffalo every day either. But how did you seemingly stay so patient and mature through a process where you're still a young guy getting to know this league? And sometimes you're playing a much smaller number of snaps, and then other times you're obviously in a showcased role.
Yeah, it was definitely a little challenge for me this year to not be able to play as much as I feel like I should have. But at the end of the day, it all worked out the way it should have. And I'm happy I was able to go out there last night and show what I can do at a high level.
Thank you. I look forward to talking to you in the spring. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, Gabe. This is Jay with the Buffalo News. To build off that last answer there, you mentioned maybe at times feeling like you should have been playing more. When you did get the opportunities and produced the way that you did, what do you feel like that says about your readiness for a more consistent, expanded role next year?
Yeah, it is hard for guys to not play as much, but then also have to go in there when the team needs you to make a play all of a sudden. And there's a couple of guys that were put in that situation this past year, and we were able to execute every single time. So that shows how strong of a group we have and how resilient this team is.
What do you feel like you need to do this offseason to continue to build on what you were able to accomplish both last night and really toward the second half of this past season?
Yeah, just get better at everything when it comes to being a receiver. Just work all around on, again, like I said, everything. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. I'm a young player in this league and hope to play a lot of years and just don't have to keep that same mindset of just how it was my first year coming in.
How much do you feel like you improved from year one to year two, even knowing at the beginning of year two, as we've talked about, the playing time wasn't always what you wanted it to be? Do you still feel like, even if you weren't on the field in terms of your practice habits, film, workouts, that kind of thing, do you feel like there was big improvements that were made?
Yeah, there were big improvements. I watched film on me my first year for my second year, and it was a big leap when it came to how I played on the field and how I understood the game, why the game started to slow down. So definitely there was a big jump there.
Thanks, Gabe.
Hey, Gabe, it's Catherine from the Buffalo News. I hope you can hear me okay. To follow up on that, just where on the field could you see that big leap most tangibly?
I feel like it comes. It's kind of all around. I mean, whether it's making a big play down the field, getting the first down, or making a big block to seal a touchdown. I feel like you can see it through how I play my game, no matter what I'm doing out there.
Are you able to tell us, now that the season's over, what Emmanuel Sanders pointed out to you to help you jump your game?
I don't know. He just helped me, taught me ways on how to get off the ball quicker, to be able to get down the field faster and be able to help Josh be able to read us a little bit easier. That was a big thing for me that helped me out, was just how to get off the ball faster.
Thanks, Gabe. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hi, Gabe. I know that there's a lot still left to process from last night's win, but when you look at your second season with the Bills, last year you came in with as a rookie, obviously, but the team overall, just how do you encapsulate everything that played out for you guys this season and just how it all played out throughout the year?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of ups and downs in this season. I know a lot of people counted us out early, but we just kept fighting. We have a really resilient team, and we want to win, and we have a strong bond, and we want to play together, and we do it for each other, and that's what we were fighting for. Especially the past 4 weeks, we were trying to prove a point that we should, be in the playoffs, and we know how good of a team we are, and it didn't turn out the way we wanted it to turn out, but I would do it all over with this team again.
And last year you had year one with Josh Allen, and that year was kind of his breakout year in the NFL. And this year, there were some people that would question as to whether or not that was just a flash in the pan for Josh. But how would you feel or say to any of the people that doubted Josh Allen heading into this year and just kind of what you thought of his 2021 season overall?
Yeah, I mean, Josh is a natural born competitor. He wants to win, and you see it every single weekend. And what he did last night is no surprise. I mean, the week prior to that, again, we had essentially a perfect game when it came to scoring on every single drive, and that's the type of leader that you want leading your offense. And I got all my faith in Josh. He's the best quarterback in the NFL, and I'll be by his side no matter what.
Thanks, Gabe.
Hey, Gabe, can you speak on the brotherhood in the locker room and the bond that you guys all share?
Yeah, I feel like it's a tight-knit group. Everybody's good with each other, no matter offensive, defensive side. We all communicate with each other. There's some teams where, it's not like that. And we all just want to win for each other more than anything. And when you have a team that wants to, perform for their brother next to him, it's a real dangerous team to be to go against. And I feel like that's how strong this Buffalo Bills team is.
What has it been like for you to learn from the great wide receivers in that room for your first 2 years?
Yeah, again, it's helped me out a lot. I feel like it gave me a jump start to coming into the NFL and kind of grooming me into a better receiver. So I'm happy I had the opportunity to work with all those guys to be able to put it all on the field.
Thank you. Have a good offseason.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Gabe, approach your second off season, and now that you have one under your belt, do you do anything differently now as you get into this second off season that you have?
Nothing different. Me and my guy, I feel like I have a real good plan. So we'll be down there in Florida getting some good work in that heat, and it's going to be a good offseason. It's going to be fun.
I'm sure there's going to be a slew of you Bills players in Florida in the offseason because it always seems like that happens at some point. You guys all meet up together. But based on what you guys put on the field last night and really the end of the season, what do you think is next for this offense?
Well, now we just have to understand that that's the standard of what our offense can do and what we're capable of. We have to make sure that we bring that same energy every single week. I feel like that was the difference. We just brought a totally different type of energy coming down the stretch of the season because we knew how important it was for us to be able to make this run. Unfortunately, it didn't end the way we wanted it, but, proud of the guys for sure.
Thanks, Gabe.
Hey, Gabriel, AJ Feldman here in Rochester. You have a game like last night, record-setting performance. How does that motivate you in the off season to build on that and prove it wasn't just a one-time thing?
Yeah, exactly. You just have to keep working. It was awesome to be able to be a part of NFL history, but now that people are going to know my name and know what I can do, there's definitely work that has to be done to be able to still be able to compete at a high level, against the best.
You talk about the camaraderie the wide receiver room has. What did they say to you after the game after you have a performance like that?
No, everybody was real happy for me. Even though we didn't get the result we did, they told me how good of a game I played and how happy I should be for what I did. They had my back 100%.
All right. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the offseason.
Yeah.
Hey, Gabe. It's Catherine again. Just to follow up a bit more on last night, your first catch wasn't until towards the very end of the first half. And then to have all those touchdowns to 201 yards, just kind of, can you take us through a bit more what you're expecting going into the game? And then if anything changed to really open up the game for you to have that performance with so much of it really in the fourth quarter, especially?
Once you get into that type of, it should be like that every single week, but not saying me getting the ball, I'm saying the way we think out there on the field. As in, it doesn't matter who gets the ball, no matter what's going on, we're just trying to win the game. Especially in those situations when you get to playoffs, like no one is being selfish. Everybody wants everybody to eat, and no matter who's getting the ball, what's going on, we just want points put on the board. And I was able to capitalize on the opportunities that I was given. And we didn't expect it for it to be like that, but I had a lot of different opportunities that I was able to go out there and make a play on, and we had Daboll and all those guys make the right decisions in order to make those plays happen.
You mentioned that as such a theme this year of it's helpful sometimes to get in a rhythm, but you haven't always had that chance and have still need to make the most of those opportunities, even if they're a little more sporadic. So when they do all of a sudden come in a bunch, like at the very end of the game, what is that feeling like as a player who's been ready for that whenever it happens, and then it is happening in a game of that magnitude?
You just want to be able to show your team and show the fans that they can trust you, and that's what I wanted to be able to show that night, last night, and I was fortunate enough to be able to do that. But that's the biggest thing. You just want to let the team know when the chips are down and the pressure's on that you can trust me to make a play.
And then, we're not sure exactly what will happen with Brian Daboll, but you mentioned him the answer before. What's the biggest thing you've learned from working with him during your time here?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Davis is a great OC, and he just thinks differently when it comes to the game of football, and he knows the game of football very well. And I'm so glad that I was able to have such a great OC like him, my first years in the league. I am really fortunate to be a part of this Bills team, being a young guy, because there were so many great people around me, coach and staff, and also just great players, defense and offensive side, that I was able to be around and learn from. So just the whole team as well. Just so happy to be around such a great group of guys.
What are some of the ways he thinks differently about football?
Yeah, I mean, Davis just draws some stuff up out of the sand out of nowhere. It'll kind of surprise you, but it'll end up working. He's real smart. He knows how to break down a defense, and as you see last night, he was able to put me in some positions to make some good plays, and hats off to him for that.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
That'll be it for today. Thank you, Gabe.
Cool.
Thank you.
questions, please raise your hand if you have a question. First question will be from Maddie.
Hey, Harrison, as you guys start to wrap up this season, how do you process last night and then begin to move forward to the off season?
I mean, last night fucking sucked. 24 hours, so it's still in that first wave of pain, I guess. But gotta have a growth mindset about the whole thing, and hope that we can get ourselves in the same position again, or even better, playing at home in the seasons to come. But I think everyone eventually will kind of look at themselves and see what they could have done better, how we could have played as a group better. So yeah, just a lot of reflection and sorrow today. I mean, today's a hard day.
Yeah, and as you look back on the regular season and even the postseason too, and what the defense was able to put together, I mean, you guys ranked #1 for so long. What are some of your thoughts on what the group did and what you guys put together this year?
Yeah, that's something that we can be proud of for the rest of our lives. I remember I think I said it the week that the regular season ended. We are part of history. When you go back and look up the 2021 regular season, we'll be the #1 defense in the world. So I'm extremely proud of my teammates and the staff that, coached us to be in that, to have that accolade. But again, obviously winning would be more important than that accolade. But still there's a lot to be grateful for, and we have to look back, especially, when the pain, the dust settles a little bit, and be grateful for being like this. It's probably just as rare to be a part of a #1 defense as it is to win a Super Bowl. There's only one team that gets to do that each year. Obviously we switch them in a heartbeat, but it's still something that we can be proud of.
Thanks, Harrison.
Hey, Harrison, John Morrow with the Associated Press. I guess, I mean, it's early to ask this question, but it's obviously a question with your contract being up and your thoughts about the future and knowing what you've accomplished here and knowing you've got unfinished business here.
Yeah, I have a lot of personal capital built up here in this organization and with these people. They know my value better than any other team because they've got to see the person that I am, obviously on the field, but the things that you can't measure, the leadership qualities and what I do in the community here and all those things. So, I would hope to be here. There hasn't been any talks yet, but I would love to revenge these 3 years in a row now in the playoffs, on the road, losing. And yeah, there's definitely some vengeance.
Gotcha. And one thing, just from a team perspective, the one thing that seemed to be missing this year is the Bills' inability to win the closer games. You were, I think, 10-1 in one-score games last year, or something to that effect, and you couldn't seem to do it this year. Can you pinpoint what might have been the issue?
Do you know what our record was?
This year, you didn't win one game decided by one score.
Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think every game was a case study in itself, per se. Being completely different. We are built in a way that we are resilient and can win in those games. We definitely trust the people, Josh with the ball or our defense to make the stand, or Josh to win the game for us. I guess, the ball is shaped a really weird way and it bounces different ways sometimes. But I think one thing we all need to have a better understanding of is something we preach all the time, and that's situational awareness of exactly what the situation is, how many timeouts, where we are on the field, what they need, point, all those things that go into account. And so maybe that's another thing that we'll continue to focus on.
Thanks, Harrison. Enjoy your off season.
Hey, Harrison. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Can you speak on the brotherhood in the locker room and the bond that you all share?
We're extremely close team, and we're close as a team, we're close as a defense, and we're close as a defensive line room. And the position groups. So we built a solid unity even through the OTA-ish period where we were here, where we weren't here, we were virtual, and then through training camp and all the stuff that happened this season, we stuck together. We didn't point fingers because we had really high highs and really low lows. But yeah, the brotherhood is incredible. That's what adds an extra layer of emotion when you come out of a season like this, knowing that it's not going to be the same the following year because of the people you're losing. The pieces are going to be the same. There's going to be defensive ends, there's going to be linebackers, there's going to be corners and safeties and nose guards, and but it's not going to be the same person in those positions. And I've been with people now for 4 years. Some people have been here for 5. Jerry Hughes has been here a lifetime, knows all these guys, and you have such a good connection and friendship with someone. It's like when your buddies go away for college, or when you finish college and go back to the real world. There's a lot of layers of emotion there.
What are some of the things that you've learned from Jerry Hughes in your time in Buffalo?
I think he's probably my closest friend who's a father. I'm 25 years old, so my friends back home yet that are like my best friends, no one has children yet, and my sister doesn't either. So I get to see Jerry in the last 4 years raise his very young kids into like kids and have another child, and holding Hayden when she was a baby, and now she's like a girl running around, and yeah. So I think I've learned a lot from him in that role, and how great of a husband he is with Megan. And then on the field, I came into the NFL very, very nice guy on the field too. Every time I tackle someone, I want to help them up, or I don't know. I just was a very nice football player, and Jerry kind of helped show me that it's not a nice game. There's a lot of violence in the game, and you can be a bully out there, try to be a superhero out there. And so he's been good for my development and that confidence in myself and being a dog.
Turned you from Harrison Phillips to Horrible Harry
I guess so.
Field.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a great offseason.
Harrison, when you look back from week 1 until this point of the season, how do you best encapsulate just how everything played out for the team as a whole?
I guess just a long roller coaster ride, 20-some week roller coaster with, like I mentioned earlier, really high highs and some low lows. But a group that remained resilient, and like I mentioned earlier, the ball just bounced the wrong way. The coin flip landed the wrong way, and still proud of the group.
I know you're on the defensive side of the ball, but you get plenty of time to get the chance to watch Josh Allen go to work on the field. And last season was kind of his breakout year, and some people questioned in terms of just how he can replicate that heading into this season. But seeing how he performed, especially last night, just what do you say about Josh Allen overall in terms of his play in 2021?
Yeah, obviously full bias because he's my best friend, but I believe he's the best football player in the world. It's incredible to see what he does and how he can make plays, and 4th down, he's going to convert. What he did last night, again, no surprise to me. I know I know who he is. And I think that although we came up short and he doesn't care anything about all that, I think a lot of people respect him more for how well he played. Now, he would have rather won the game, obviously, but starting to get the national attention that he deserves, I think.
Thank you, Harrison.
Hey, Harrison, this is Jay with the Buffalo News. You've persevered through a lot here in 4 years, including a pretty tough knee injury and bounced back from that. Is there anything that you point to that allowed you, particularly this season, to work your way into a starter on this defense?
I think I would definitely go back to my faith in God and my testimonial kind of thing. I've had a really solid relationship with Christ and Christianity my whole life from my parents' upbringing. And I think I'd be ignorant to say that like I did this on my own and it's some, by my own doing. I think that a lot of things happened for a reason and that were completely out of my control. And I consider those things to be blessings. And so I think, I got to give appreciation to God for that.
You've rightfully been proud of where this defense finished in the regular season. Given the way, though, that last night finished for this defense and the struggles that you had in the fourth quarter and overtime to get off the field when there were chances to do so, do you feel like that this unit is going to sort of be judged a little bit by that? And is that fair?
Yeah, I think that in the NFL, they always say you're as good as what you like put on film last, your most recent thing. So yeah, people are probably going to talk a lot about that. And, but no, maybe it's fair, maybe it's not. It's not up for me to decide. But again, I know that I would go to war with those 10 other guys, or every player that we have out there, the 10 other guys. I would take that field with against anybody in any situation with a single blade of grass. I'd still go out with that group right there.
Thanks. And then last for me, Leslie's. He's had head coach interviews last offseason. He's got him again this year. What's he meant for this defense, and potentially what would it mean if he were to get one of those opportunities? I know obviously personally you'd be thrilled for him, but the defense would change. So what could that mean?
Yeah, he'd definitely be a loss just because he's been such a consistent coach for us, and we know what we're going to get with him. And his approach is very methodical and professional, and we all appreciate Coach Frazier. But like you mentioned, I hope that he becomes a head football coach if that's one of the goals that he has for himself. He deserves it, and I think that organization would be getting someone who understands how to change the culture of a program and how to play great defense.
Thanks for your time as always, Harrison.
Hey, Harrison. You mentioned how you guys want to use last night to motivate y'all for the future, and how there's kind of a similar taste to the way last season ended. But what feels different about what you guys are going through right now compared to a year ago?
Pretty similar feelings, I would say. I would say maybe, I don't know if this is right. I think last year, because it was like the first time we made a solid stretch and the first time we had a home playoff game and stuff like that, that when the season ended, the external feeling outside of the building was a lot of gratitude and gratefulness for what the team did for the city and how far they made it for a long time and all those things. And so this year, I think externally, fans or media or whatever, there's now an expectation for us to have done that again, make an AFC championship. And if we're building something here, that means each year we're supposed to go further. And so if we didn't do that this year, it feels like a bigger letdown than last year where, it finished and, hey, that was a hell of a run. Congratulations. Where maybe this year, it's more of a letdown. Like we thought, you should have had more in you type of thing. But as a player, a loss is a loss. The season's over.
When you mentioned that's kind of the external perspective of what should or shouldn't have happened, do you feel those are fair, or what do you guys make of it internally?
Every year our goal is to win a Super Bowl. So if you're 1 game short, 2 games short, 3 games short, don't even make the playoffs, the pain is relatively the same. You don't get you don't get to go to the Super Bowl. You don't get to win. Yeah.
When we talked to Dawson a little bit ago about that Tampa game and how that led to that streak at the end of the season, what did you see happen for the team on either side of the ball in that game that, you guys built on for that remainder of the season into the playoffs?
I just think through the ebbs and flows of a season, we finally played our brand of football, which you saw for, complimentary on all 3 phases for that 4 or 5 game stretch. And then it just so happened that last night, our offense did a fantastic job, and we just couldn't make another stop defensively. So, but yeah, during that stretch, we were playing Buffalo Bills football, and that's the team that we had
And then last for me, you mentioned Jerry and some of the other veterans. On the flip side, I was curious just what you saw from Greg and Boogie this season.
Yeah, I told both of them when we were walking off the field there how proud I was of them for having a hell of a rookie year, and let them know that they're both going to be in football games like that many times in their careers, their long careers, and to have this motivate them for the off season. Still remind them that it's not a given that you're going to make it to the second round of the playoffs every year, and so that you have to come with that hungry approach to your off season and come back here and make sure that they don't feel that ever again. But I'm very proud of them, and I'm so excited for the future that they have. I think they're going to be very good football players for a very long time.
Thanks, Harrison. Really appreciate your time.
Man of the year, Mookie Hawkins, Buffalo Sports 1080. How you doing today?
Could have been a lot better, but I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, I get it, bro. I definitely get it. Year 4 for you, man. Typically things start to slow down for you that third, fourth year, so to speak. So what have you learned, in year 4 that you didn't pick up on the previous 3?
I would say that's. You mean like schematically or just like as a person?
Schematically.
Oh, I came into the NFL and that was kind of one of my best strengths was understanding like offensive tendencies and defenses and stuff. So I learned our playbook very early. I think by the time training camp came, I was actually helping coach it to the other guys who've been there a year longer than I had even been. But each year you pick up on some new things. Eric Washington came in, after my second year. So he has a different philosophy of how pass rush works and those things. So my game evolved through the way that he sees a game versus kind of the system that Kyle Williams had when he was here. Every year you see blocks over, more and more times. I know when I was a wrestler, you used to have to do a move 1,000 times in practice before you could use it in a match. And then you do it 10,000 in practice before you could do it without even thinking. So in the same approach, I've now played 4 years of a reach block. And so, I don't know if that's thousands, probably not thousands, but, hundreds and hundreds of reach blocks I've seen now. I can feel it. I know where my hand should be, and, those type of things. So just the more and more, I think that's why you see a lot of guys in my position specifically peak in years 6, 7, 8, because now it comes easier and easier and easier and easier and easier. So, I'm still excited to reach my ceiling in the NFL. I know that there's still a big gap between where I'm playing and where I can play at.
Absolutely, man. Hey, we know the type of person you are, so you don't have to worry about that. And then you went to Stanford, so we'll know where that IQ definitely comes from. So, with that being said, horrible one. How does this loss challenge you to get better for next season?
It's tough. It's just I love these things just because it's extra motivation, something I can think about in the dark night of a late workout or the early morning of a workout. You can try to pull strength from this, but I still have to do like my end of season review for myself and go back and rewatch a lot of the stuff and see what reoccurring themes came up in my game that I need to work on specifically. But obviously a lot of areas you can improve every year. So I'll kind of reflect on that in the next couple of weeks here and then put my goals together for the offseason.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, are you planning to be back in Buffalo next year?
I don't think you can plan for anything. There's so much uncertainty in the NFL. Like I said earlier on the call, there haven't been any talks yet. But I definitely would hope to be here. This is a place that I came from pretty much a kid at 21 and a young man. Learned a lot here, have so much personal capital in the community and with the team and the organization here. And, I know with the future of where it's going with AJ and Boogie and Greg and Ed, and, I feel like we all work really well together. I know that they trust me and they come to me a lot for help. And I love being there for the guys. So yeah, I mean, I definitely been praying for it for every day since I got drafted. You know, that I'd be able to sign a very nice second contract and stay here. So we'll see how it all plays out.
Hey man, it's been a pleasure to watch your growth, your development, as well as watching you play this year. I mean, you were phenomenal in the way you played, and what you do in community, man, is just bar none unanimous in what you do, and we appreciate that a great deal. So hopefully we can see you back, and I'll be getting that interview with you once that day comes. But hey man, have a healthy and enjoy the off season, my guy.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to do that interview too.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Harrison, it's Sal. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you, bro.
Okay. I'm at the KC airport waiting to fly out, trying to be quiet, but also got to do this. Hey, so I want to ask this the right way. I don't know how to kind of put it, but for fans, I've heard a lot. I did a radio show this morning. People are obviously, it's gut wrenching for them. It's, their kids. I have a son at home who's going through it. He's inconsolable this morning. It's tough, but I know it is for you guys, but it's your livelihood. It's your life. And we'll pick up, fans will pick up, media. We go on with our jobs. We have different things. So can you kind of take me into the process of kind of getting over this the way you have to get back into what you do professionally every day?
It's hard. It is. And again, we play in an entertainment business, and there's so many ways you can frame it that we're the luckiest people in the world and we have it so easy. And wow, yeah, you're going to go on vacations for the next month or whatever you want to do. But like, there's a very slippery slope that you can fall into the depression from stuff like this. I mean, your whole life, you dream of accomplishing something. All the pieces are tilted to that's a real possibility. And then it's ripped off of you like a Band-Aid instantly. I mean, with one play, with 13 seconds. And I mean, it's tough. And I mean, that's why you have to be very mature. You have to be, it's you're mentally strong to survive in this business and, survive all the negative hate that you were already hearing and it's going to be coming on and, be able to persevere through that. And then again, have that growth mindset that I have to find ways that I can come back and be a better football player.
Good insight. Thank you very much. Always appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, George Radney, Challenger Community News. Good afternoon to you, Harrison. A couple quick questions for you. One, do you think in the last 13 seconds, just to have look it over, obviously, hindsight is always second. Do you think the defense could have been more aggressive or should have been more aggressive in those last 13 seconds of not playing off the line of scrimmage on the wide receivers?
Yeah, I actually, I don't even know exactly what the defensive play call was. I wasn't out there and I didn't have the headset. But I think everyone, it doesn't come down to that play. Go to the first play, the second play, the third play of the game. There's 70 some odd plays that, we should turn the ball over more, been better on third down. You can't pinpoint one specific play or situation. If you guys have the opportunity to talk to Coach Frazier, maybe he can tell you his opinion on how he felt he called the defense. But we trust Coach Frazier and whatever he plays, we call, or whatever he calls, we play.
Absolutely. And also, what makes Mahomes so elusive? Because it looked like, even from the press box looking down, it looked like you guys almost had your hands on him, and next thing you know, he's still moving and twisting and turning and all of a sudden breaking away. What does he have? Is it deceptive speed that he has, or what is it that allows him to escape
he has a lot of tools in his toolbox, and he has pretty quick feet. So a lot of times, like if somebody is looking down the routes and then they start looking down at the rush, they're gonna take off running. That's not always the case with him. So he'll look down at the rush and then evade and then look back out to pass. And then he some quarterbacks have like a specific lane that they escape from. Mahomes can kind of he'll roll out to his left, he'll escape through a B gap, he'll just take off straight, roll out. Sometimes he'll just roll out to run, sometimes just roll out to pass. So yeah, I mean, he's very elusive. Like I said, he has a lot quicker feet than it appears.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's elusive and tried to extend plays. Our back end did a fantastic job in coverage, holding up, giving us an extra, giving us a chance to try to contain him and try to get home. But yeah, he's elusive.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. Great season. Really appreciate. I'm still in Kansas City, and for people here, they can't believe they even won the game. So that's a testament to what a great game it was. It's a lot of accolades for both teams, A great game, well played by both teams yesterday. And have a great offseason.
Thank you.
Hey, Harrison, it's Catherine again. I know Star kind of had an up and down year just with being able to be available, but what did he mean to this team and bring to this defense?
Yes, Star's, I think I said it a couple weeks ago, but like I respect Star so much. He's been probably, when I think about it in my career, the most important player in my career to me, to my development, and more so off the field than on the field, but just always encouraging and always helping me, trying to find ways to believe in myself. And, he knows the position really well. So, if a coach says, oh, do it this way, whatever, sometimes he might pull me back, be like, hey, look, the reality of it is, yeah, they want that, but this is a better way to do it. And here's what I've had success doing. And then, just being my biggest supporter in the room too. I mean, he wants me to succeed so much. So I'm very happy for Star. I'm very proud of him. And he's had an amazing career. I hope that I get to play with him again.
When you mentioned that you still need to watch some a film of either last night or recently in the season, are you someone who wants to rip the Band-Aid off and watch that sooner, or do you need to have a little space from last night's game before you go back and break it down a little bit more?
No, I'll go right away and start breaking it down. Help me sleep better at night.
And then when you were talking to Sal about, this is such a hard thing for you guys to process when you invest so much in it. What does the team do to help you guys support you guys in that way off the field at this point of the season when, it is a crushing end and you guys have built towards it so much? Are there things behind the scenes that the team is doing to support you there?
We have the resources in our building. We have Dr. Des, who's our sports psychologist, that you can obviously go see. And then, the coaches in all the meetings say, text or call if you ever need anything. And I think they're very genuine with that, that if something is bearing on you too much, that you can reach out and they would be there for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Harrison. Again, really appreciate all of this and your time.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Tremaine, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get started. And first question will be from Jay.
Hey, Tremaine, it's Jay with the Buffalo News. This defense has a lot to be proud of with how it finished the season, #1 overall in points and yards allowed. Do you feel, though, that the way that this game yesterday ended, particularly the fourth quarter and overtime, and not being able to get the stops when you needed, is going to sort of leave an impression amongst, fans, media, whoever it may be, about how this defense is viewed?
Well, for one, obviously, the outcome of the game, none of us is happy with it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm extremely happy, for the guys that we have in the room and, the work that each and every one of us put in throughout this year. Obviously, the whole year we had, ups and downs. One point wasn't, better than the other. It was just it was a roller coaster all year. And just to see the guys stay together, just to see us all continue to improve each and every week and, just continue to get better. I think that just speaks volumes to the guys we have in the room. And, although we didn't get the outcome that we wanted, it hurts all of us. But, you just can't discredit, obviously all the hard work and all the sacrifices guys put in throughout the whole year. It started with just us. And, obviously now it's probably going to end with just us, us believing in each other and us believing in, the work that we put in. And, obviously we just got to keep growing. And, the nature of the business, we're not going to have the same guys back probably, but the guys that do come back understand this feeling, understand, the mission, understand what the standard is, and continue to work and get better.
You're the guy that makes the calls for this defense. I mean, how do you explain what happened in those last 13 seconds? I mean, was there miscommunication? Were guys out of position? Were they on the same page? I mean, what in your mind happened there?
Yeah, I mean, we executed. It's just unfortunate, situation that we were in, and things didn't go our way.
Your the team exercised your contract, your fifth year option, so now you are, I guess, heading into a contract year. What, if any, early conversations have there been about a possible extension? Is that something you'd be interested in? Is that something that has been discussed with the team at all? What, just kind of where do you stand in terms of your, short and maybe long-term future here?
Yeah, right now, obviously my mindset my mind is just on, obviously what happened in the game. So really haven't been in conversation about that.
Okay. Thanks for your time, Tremaine.
Hey, Tremaine, John Worrell with the AP. It seemed to be a theme over the course of the season in how, can you pinpoint how the team as a whole had difficulty winning one-score games? You guys, went 0-6 this year as opposed to going 6-1 last year in games decided by one score. And it wasn't just the offense or the defense; it was the offense too. Can you pinpoint what might be the issue there?
Nah, I mean, things just didn't go our way. Obviously, we prepare throughout the week for them to go in our favor. Guys do the preparation, guys put the work in. But unfortunately, many times this year, they just didn't go our way.
And just the last thing, the overtime rule, just any, given the fact that it's the playoffs, I mean, is there any sense or a belief that teams should get a chance to respond, especially given the gravity of what's on the line in the playoffs?
The rule is the rule right now. All we can do is go out and execute, and in particular in our situation, find a way to get offense the ball back. But the rule is a rule. We just gotta just abide by it.
Fair enough. Thank you, Tremaine, and try to enjoy the off season.
Hey, Tremaine, can you speak to how much love there is in the locker room and the bond that you guys share?
Yeah, we got a great group of guys. A great group of guys that care about one another. And we don't stick with one another. That's just the type of guys we have here. Coaches as well. In good times and bad times, still, understand that this is a family. Understand that the hard work it took to get here, and just continue to stay by one another and uplift one another.
Do you worry at all about how this roster will change in the offseason, knowing that you guys felt that you had the championship caliber team this year?
Honestly, that's something that, I don't have, control over. Obviously, just the nature of the business, we're not going to have everyone back. But, I'm not in control of that, so we just have to see how that goes.
All right. Thank you. Have a great offseason.
Tremaine, I know that there's still a lot to process from yesterday's game, but when you look back from the start of the year up until this point, how can you best encapsulate just kind of how everything played out as a team this year?
Yeah, it was definitely a tough year. I think each year is going to be a little bit different. We had a lot of roller coasters, a lot of ups and downs. We went to a point of the season when a lot of people was rooting us out. They didn't even expect us to be, at this point now, or, where we were at yesterday. A lot of people were ruling us out, counting us out. But, it just took the effort, and the resilience from the guys in the room to just keep fighting. And each week, we just kept coming in, believing in the process, trusting one another, and we just kept fighting. And, obviously it didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, but, got to take the hat off to the guys for, continuing to put our head down and grind.
I know that you're on the defensive side of the ball, but you get a lot of opportunity to work against Josh Allen during practice, and you get the chance to watch him a lot on the field. last year was sort of his breakout year in 2020, and some people question in terms of whether he could carry that over into 2021 and not be just a flash in the pan. What do you have to say about this year from Josh and just how he's grown in 2021 and building off of last year's success?
Yeah, as we all know, he's a big time player. We're lucky to have him on our team. You just see the work that he put with, behind the scenes, just the work he puts in into the building and practice, just seeing him go out and, make unbelievable throws and just, being able to extend the plays and, just give guys opportunity to make plays on the ball and, just setting guys up to make big time plays. It speaks volume, and he's just going to continue to keep getting better. Obviously all of us trust him. I'm just excited for him.
Thanks, Tremaine.
Yeah.
Hey, Tremaine. I was curious now, I know it's just moving on from yesterday and all that, but how do you feel like this season went personally for you? Like, how would you assess how you played?
I think each year, when you hold yourself to a certain standard, there's always more. There's always a lot more that you could do. And that's, personally how I feel about myself. Still a lot more I can learn from. Still a lot left out there for me to do as far as getting better, as far as me developing, as far as just everything in general. That's what I'm going to take into this offseason, just continue to strive to get better, learn on things that I know I need to get better with, be truthful with myself, be direct communication, with, my coaches and just, see areas of improvement and, just hit the ground running with.
And then larger as a defense, you guys have talked a lot about that idea of having a chip on your shoulder and knowing how people talk about you and all that sort of thing. After last night, how do you keep what happened? Do you think about that during the off season, like how the season ended with the defense on the field? Is that something you think about, or do you try to not focus on that? Like, how do you approach that?
I think our philosophy is, we always going to approach each and every day, each and every year, as that underdog. We always going to have that chip on our shoulder. That's just the type of guys that we have. Nobody is, happy with, staying in one certain spot. Nobody is comfortable to staying in one certain spot. So we always going to approach it with that chip on our shoulder and, just with the urge to get better.
And then one last one for me. I'm just curious, obviously with Leslie getting a few head coaching opportunities potentially and all that sort of thing, what has he meant for you as your development as a player? Just what is your relationship like with him, and just what has he meant to you personally?
Yeah, he's meant a lot. He's, got a ton of respect for him. So it's exciting that he's, getting these opportunities. He's helped me develop, into a good player. And, like I said, I have a ton of respect for him and, happy for the things that's coming as well.
Thanks, Tremaine.
Maine Savage, Mookie Hawkins, Buffalo Sports Cincinnati, man. How you doing today?
Good. What's going on?
Hanging in there, big dog. Yesterday, I just think that it was just an offensive battle, man. On both sides of defense, you just throw the defense out of the equation the way red hot both of these offenses were. But just give me your overall assessment of yesterday. Just your thoughts on yesterday's game.
It's just, it's kind of hard just speaking about it. Obviously, just finding a way to get stops, defensively, in those critical times. But, I don't think you could just take one play or two players out. Obviously, it's a 4-quarter game, where in that instance, 5-quarter game, including overtime. And you just got to find ways to get stops in those critical times. And, obviously something we'll learn from and, continue to get better.
And speaking of learning, year 4 for you, what have you learned this year, year 4, that the first 3 years didn't teach you?
I think each year teaches you something different, or if not the same stuff. It's just each year is going to be different. So really adversity. Obviously, as a team, personal, you go through adversity, you go through battles, you go through things that's hard. And I think that brings out the true character in a man, to be able to look yourself in the mirror, be able to look your teammate in the face and, just be truthful with one another. We're in that business and, holding each other accountable. I think that's what, makes up a good football team, being able to trust the person beside you, knowing that that you're going to get his best and you're going to give him your best, and being able to just to be truthful with one another. And, you know, there's a lot of learning points that you can get from it.
Now, with that answer you just gave me, it goes back to the question I asked you about Coach Frazier about if it don't challenge you, it won't change you. And the answer that I got from Coach Frazier was, you know, going through adversity. And it's okay that, you know, to go through that. You feel that, you know, in life, you know, you're going to go through adversity, but how do you handle that, you know, moving forward? You know, so that was the answer. That was this response I got from Coach Frazier. So I say that to say this. How does yesterday's loss challenge you to become better next year?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely lights a fire. You know what I mean? You know, it's gonna hurt for a while. That's just the reality of it. It's definitely gonna hurt. But I mean, you gotta let it be fuel for the next year. I mean, you gotta, you know, strike something inside of you just to, you know, use that every time you step foot on that field, every time you step foot in that weight room. Understand the feeling, you know, kind of like we talked about last year, you know, around this time, you know, understand what it is. And, you know, it's going to be hard. Each year is hard. You know what I mean? It's going to be hard again next year. But, you know, we got to start, you know, fast and stay together. I think that's the number one thing, stay together.
Absolutely, man. Hey, it's been a pleasure watching you in this defense ball out this year, getting all the accolades that you deserve. Just make sure you stop at Fat Cats and get that last plate before you head out of here. All right, man, Savage.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Hey, Tremaine, after what the defense put together this season, what do you think the standard is for this group?
Yeah, standard each year is, you know, just to, you know, be the best. And I think nothing is going to change with that. So that's our mindset, and that's what we're striving towards.
And then how can you make sure that you guys take that next step forward and continue to be the best, knowing that you're one of the leaders in this group?
Being accountable, you know, making sure that we do the necessary things, the small things to, you know, to win these big time games. And, you know, nothing's going to change. We just got to keep, you know, doing the things that we were doing. We got a great group of guys, great group of leaders, you know, to lead each position group. And, you know, we just got to do that.
Thanks, Tremaine.
Yeah.
Hey, Tremaine, you kind of touched on how there's some similar feelings from last year, and obviously it's always going to hurt losing in the playoffs, but what feels different about maybe today versus this time last year when you guys were processing the season?
You know, I don't think nothing feels really different about losing. I mean, you know, when you lose, it sucks. You know what I mean? It's a bad feeling. Obviously, all the hard work that you put in. So, I mean, losing, I mean, a loss is a loss at the end of the day.
We had talked to you guys a lot heading into the season about the expectations that last year put on y'all, and how, when you look back at the season as a whole, do you guys think, you know, you use those either as fuel, or if they were hard to go against sometimes, just what did you make of how this team went against expectations from last year?
You know, I think the only expectations is the expectation we put on ourselves. No matter, you know, what people may say, we got to work. You know, each year is going to be different. No matter what we did last year, no matter what we did this year, I mean, next year is going to be different as well. So we got to approach it that way. And, you know, we just got to come out and, you know, stick together and, you know, take it a day at a time.
Thanks. Appreciate your time.
That's all for today. Thank you, Tremaine.
All right. Appreciate it.
Hey, Josh, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, we'll get started with questions. And our first question will be from Mookie.
Dr. Josh, Mookie Hawkins, World for Sports 1080, man. How you doing today?
Been better.
Right. Hey, listen, man, you was a dog out there. And like I said, your performance definitely put the world on notice, to put that respect on your name. Just give us your overall assessment of last night.
I mean, we didn't do enough to win a football game. Obviously, we're pretty hurt in this building today. You know, we wish we were getting ready for another game. You know, at the end of the day, it wasn't meant to be, and we'll use this as his knowledge as we go forward, and use this as experience and let this fuel the fire.
Absolutely, man. And each year you are getting better and better and better. What have you learned about yourself year 4 that the first 3 years didn't teach you?
Again, just new situations within games, trusting the guys around you, continuing to evolve in my knowledge and understanding of what defenses are trying to do and what they're going to do against me. And yeah, just finding ways to get better each and every offseason, and working with Jordan out there in California, and just trying to hone in on all my mechanics and do everything I can to be the best quarterback and teammate I can be for this team.
Absolutely, man. In closing, how will yesterday's defeat challenge you to become better next season?
Again, the goal is to win a Super Bowl, and the mentality is Super Bowl or bust every year that we play. That's the mentality that we have here. And again, you're not going to be happy every year, but we got to find a way to break that barrier and bring one home here to Buffalo.
Hey, man, it's been a pleasure each year to watch your development, watch your growth, and, more in particular, just to watch how you play the game. Just have a great off season, and, good luck to you. And I can't wait to see what year 5's have for you, big dog.
Thank you.
Hey, Josh, it's Kim Jones. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I got you, Kim. Good to see you.
Great to see you as always. What is it like to have 13 seconds change your entire season of God knows how many snaps and a whole bunch of wins and a whole bunch of good, and 13 seconds changes everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the game. We can sit here and play the what if game, but there's no saying, we do what everybody's saying that we should have done, and they have a chance for a Hail Mary, and who knows if they catch that or not. It's you can't play that game. So you live and die by the sword, and I love our teammates. I love our coaching staff. And unfortunately, it's probably gonna be the last time that every guy in this building is gonna be here. So it's a tough day. We understand that. But again, as to next year, we got to find a way to move forward, and like I said, do whatever it takes to bring one home here to Buffalo.
If I could just follow up about Gabe Davis, how was he able to almost at times take over that game? And I have to think, Josh, that heartens you going forward. I mean, he will certainly be a teammate of yours again next year, and it certainly looks like big things are ahead for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that always does the right things. Coming in, it doesn't feel real that he's only a second-year guy in the league. Like, feels like he's been here so much longer than that. But for him to do that yesterday was unbelievable. And at the start of the season, he was begging for more opportunities. And I just told him to stay the course, and that's exactly what he did. He didn't complain, he didn't pout, he didn't give up. He just put his head down and worked his ass off. And when you have guys that do the right things and continue to show up and do what's necessary for team success, i.e. blocking, going down and taking the edge off, and going inside and getting a linebacker or a safety, like guys that just do the right thing and they don't complain. Or again, that's typically what you're gonna get. You're gonna have your opportunities and you're gonna make them, because that's what type of player you are, and this is what type of player he is.
Josh, thank you so much for your professionalism. I appreciate that more than you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Appreciate you.
Hey, Josh, John Worrell.
Hi, John. How you doing?
I'm good. In knowing the competitor that you are, but also knowing where you've come from and how far you've come, is there any solace in this difficult time to know that you solidified your place on the national stage as among the NFL's best quarterbacks, with the season that you've had and the performance that you put forward, you and the offense put forward last night?
I mean, at the end of the day, we had some opportunities early in the game that could have helped us out. Maybe could have changed the game, but again, that what if game is not a game I like to play. We didn't do enough to win a game, and that's what it came down to. And but again, I'm proud of our guys being down 9 points in that second half to one of the best teams in the league. They've been to four straight conference championship games, 2 straight Super Bowls. And for us to go out there and compete the way we did and battle through some adversity, it felt good. And again, I'm proud of our teammates for how we played.
I know you addressed this last night, but is it almost unfair? I know it's the rules, but when it comes to the overtime rules, and especially with the gravity of the situation in the playoffs, does it seem unfair that a game could be decided based on a simple coin toss, especially given this time of year?
I mean, it is what it is. If you go back a few years ago, the Chiefs lost in a very similar situation to the Patriots, and I think the next year, those Chiefs went on to win the Super Bowl. So, and that aspect, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and it is what it is. I'm not one to try to change rules or complain about the rules. They are what they are. So yeah.
Lastly, and I'm sorry here because I know a lot of people have questions, but can you pinpoint any of the reason that this team had difficulty winning one-score games this year as opposed to last year when you guys were 6-1?
Sometimes that's just the way the dice rolls in the game of football. The opposing teams, they get paid too, but we know that it's an area we have to be better in. And I look forward to that challenge this offseason of whether it be a mental or physical type of change that we can make as a football team and find a way to win those games because we're going to need them. And again, we won a couple of those games. Maybe the games at Buffalo, things are different. So that there's the importance of having home games and having the momentum and having crowd noise and all that stuff. So just a lot of knowledge that we can take from this experience that I think is going to pay off in the long run.
Thanks so much, Josh. And I've really appreciated your candor this season, and all the best to you in the off season.
Thank you, War. Appreciate you.
Hey, Josh, knowing how you guys ended the season here and knowing that you still have a lot of pieces in place for next season and the knowledge that you're going to be able to gain from this game, what's in store for the offense next season?
Again, every season's different. The type of players we have are different. I'm not sure who that. That's not my job, but I know that we got guys that love each other in this locker room and are going to compete for each other. And again, whatever happens in the coaching carousel of the NFL, I think teams would be foolish not to offer Brian Daboll a job. I'm praying they don't, because I want him back here. But I love him and his family too much to really think that. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league, and I think whatever team gets him is going to be lucky. But whoever, like I said, whatever is in this building, I know we're going to go out and compete for each other.
And then you yourself, what did you prove as a quarterback in this league this season?
It's not really up for me to decide that question, I guess. I'm just trying to be the best quarterback and teammate I can be for the Buffalo Bills.
Thanks, Josh. Enjoy the offseason.
Thank you, Maddie.
Hey, Josh, it's Catherine from the Buffalo News. You mentioned last night how you guys don't like feeling like that, especially back-to-back years at the same place. Just given some of the similarities of last year and this year, what stood out to you besides the result as similar and different about the ways the year ended?
Well, again, we went toe-to-toe with them. I think if you look at the game last year compared to this year, again, people say it was decided by a coin flip. So I think we're extremely close to where we want to be. And obviously we want to execute better, and we want to win that game. But in terms to know that this whole offseason really was geared towards trying to beat the Chiefs, and again they've been the sustained success the last few years, and that's what you want to be, and that's what your franchise wants to be. So again, we're close, but close doesn't cut it, and we understand that. So we got to figure out a way, like I said, to break that barrier and to move on and advance and give ourselves a chance to accomplish what we want to accomplish.
When you mentioned that so much of the offseason was geared around the Chiefs in particular, did it feel like it made a difference what round you faced them in, or was it just about like, this is the team we know we need to beat?
Yeah, I think everybody knows that's the team they need to beat. And again, you look at the track record over the last few years of who's been playing in what games, and they've been there. They've been in the AFC Championship. They've been in the Super Bowl twice. So every year you go into that knowing that you're probably going to see them at one point or another in the playoffs. So again, it's probably gonna be the same thought for next year. So we gotta, like I said, whether this off season, training camp, all that stuff, we gotta find a way to be the best versions of ourselves. And I got no doubt that this team is willing and capable of doing that.
And then one more, and really appreciate your time. Quite a few guys on this season saw bigger roles towards the end of the year, or just had breakout seasons in general. But where do you feel this offense as a whole evolved the most this season?
I mean, I think if you look at the last really 4.5, 5.5 games that we played after that first half in Tampa Bay, the resiliency of this team, the camaraderie, the communication that we had with each other, the trust that we had in each other, it was a really, really fun group to be a part of, and I'm proud of our guys for going out there and competing the way they did. Our offensive line, motor, you see all Gabe and Dawson have really good years as young players, and that's extremely promising for the future. And again, you bring back pieces that we have right now. It's, you can't help but get excited for the future. And I know it seems pretty bleak right now, but I'm eager. And it sucks that the season's over, but I'm excited for what this team is capable of. And, we got to be willing to go out there and work hard and have a great off season and try to get this thing going on next year.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate your insight.
Thank you, Catherine.
Hi, Josh. It's Jay with the Buffalo News. Do you feel like you're ending this season, and particularly what you did in the postseason, maybe playing the best football of your career right now?
Yeah. I mean, I just seeing things really well, but again, it takes 11 guys on that football field. So those 5 guys up front blocked extremely well over the last, like I said, 5 weeks. Our guys made some unbelievable plays and catches. We got the running game going. We were a very, very efficient group. And like I said, it was a fun group to be a part of. And, we were playing good ball as a collective unit.
What's that do for your confidence when that's happening?
I mean, there's just times where you feel comfortable in the pocket and you throw a ball, and at times you feel like you can't miss because guys are getting open and catching the ball and making some great catches. And, we can learn from that and use that momentum going forward. And I've got no doubt that we will.
You talked earlier about Brian. He's the only offensive coordinator you've known in the NFL. I know how close your relationship is with him. And, it extends much beyond what you guys are doing in the facility and, true friendship. Of course you will be happy for him, but that could represent a major change in your career if you were to move on, for a head job. How much have you processed that and what it potentially could mean for you in your career?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a thought that I had last year that he was going to get a job, and that didn't happen. I'm extremely fortunate that he came back. But again, I really haven't looked into it all that much. But again, I believe in the guys in this locker room as well, and that we're willing to do whatever it takes to whether it's learning a new system or using the same system with obviously a new coach. We have to band together, and it's more about the Jimmy and Joes and the X's and O's. And like I said, I trust the guys in this locker room.
Thanks, Josh. Lastly, for me, you mentioned motor briefly there, but the way that the run game the last 5-6 weeks of the season really complemented what you're able to do throwing the ball, how big of a step forward was that for this offense overall, and how much can you build on that going into next season, knowing that, you know, Devin really solidified himself, and then what you can do on the ground and just that whole element of the rushing attack?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you can get kind of tricky in that run game, I think it helps, you know, with some eye candies, some jets, some different guys in the backfield, some quarterback runs. I just think what that does to a defense keeps them on their heels. You know, we saw on third down yesterday that they were kind of doubling Steph, and we had opportunities in the quarterback run game. And when we started getting some success in that, it opened up some other stuff on third down. So, again, it just makes you think about multiple scenarios. And again, I'm happy to utilize that going forward.
Thanks a lot for your time, Josh. Enjoy the offseason.
Thank you.
Hey, Josh. First, going off Jay's question, I know this is hypothetical, but we won't talk to you if this was to happen. If Brian did leave, would you be interested in having any involvement in an offensive coordinator search, or is that something you'd like to have any insight into, or how do you kind of view that?
I mean, I think every quarterback would love to be a part of that process, and I do know there's a guy in this building that I'm a huge advocate for, and you know, again, it's not my job. It's not my my decision to make that. But again, I trust the guys in this locker room. I trust the coaches on this staff, and you know, whoever it may be. You know, again, it's not up to me, but yeah, I think as a quarterback, as a competitor, you know, you definitely want to feel like you have some sort of say in it. But again, whether it's taken or not, it's not up to me.
And assuming you're referring to Ken Dorsey there, what has he meant for you, and how important has he been to your success, do you think?
I mean, I think when he got here 3 years ago, I think my career definitely changed in terms of how I viewed the game of football. Just having a guy in the quarterback room that played the game, is the winningest college quarterback of all time, 38-2. Will never let me forget that. He says it all the time. But just the way that he approaches the game, he's competitive. He's smart. You know, he works his ass off, and I appreciate what he's done for me over the course of my career so far. And again, wherever the chips fall, that's where they fall, and we'll learn to live with it and deal with it and move on.
And then last one from me, Dawson talked to us earlier, and obviously it's been mentioned a lot, the second half of that Tampa Bay game, a lot got going with the offense and all that sort of thing. How, going forward, you know, do you make sure that it, you know, the offense gets going earlier in the season and it doesn't take until that point for it to feel like, oh, we're really clicking now? Like, how do you get that going sooner?
I mean, I think it's just understanding what type of team you are, the type of players that you have. You know, we demand a lot from our players because we know that they're capable of doing a lot. So I think early on, maybe having some more urgency, whether it be in practice or training camp, and just making sure we're focused at the task at hand. And, you know, I can do a better job of that early on in the season.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's all we have time for today. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Dion, can you hear me okay?
I might do that just to spark some shit up.
Can you hear me okay, Dion?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing? All right. We'll get started with questions, and Pat Freeman will have our first question.
Dion Dawkins, Pat Freeman from the Beat, 105.5 FM. How you doing today?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Just want to ask you a little bit about this year and the challenges that you had throughout the season, especially at the beginning. I'm an offensive line fanatic. I've watched your play for a number of years. How bad of a challenge was it to regain your stamina to get to the point you were towards the end of the season, especially playing a great game yesterday?
Yeah, it's whenever you get hit with something and like that, like the COVID battle or like an illness or whatever, your body is trying to recover the entire season. And you have to think about it like this, right? If you're sick, your body just needs to rest. But when you're playing football and you're out there beating your body down, you're going against what the body is trying to do. So it's kind of like two magnets trying to come together, and it just never comes. But it definitely took 17 weeks, for myself to really feel, like fully back, like not really set like 17, but I started to feel a lot better after that second like COVID battle. And it was just a process that I was dealt with.
My last question to you, what was that locker room like yesterday? You guys were on the cusp of one of the great victories of all time. Certainly, as time goes on, you'll realize how great of a game that you're part of. And certainly, I think you'll see that very shortly, because the entire nation is talking about one of the great performances that has ever been played during the playoffs by two teams.
Yeah, well, the locker room was like we were all disappointed. Like anytime and that you lose any game, whether it's checkers, chess, football, it don't matter. Like we're a bunch of competitors. So you put a bunch of people that compete at the highest level in one room, everybody's just like, down, like, but like that one hurt. But it's a feeling that I hate feeling, and it sucks that we had to feel it again.
Thanks a lot, Dion. I appreciate your candor and your personality. Have a good off season. I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you, brother. Same.
Hey, Dion. Always good to see you.
What's up, Dante?
Can you just speak on how much love there is in the locker room and the bond as players that you all share?
Yeah, the bond is unmatched, and I would say one of the biggest or one of the saddest things about ending a football season not on our terms is the locker room will never look the same. It'll never be the same 1 year to the next. So with that being said, it's just sad that our brotherhood is going to be broken apart, and some guys will be here and some guys won't. And when you have that much love for one another, it could definitely bring you to some sad points.
Definitely. And going off of what you just said, do you worry at all about how this roster will change in the offseason, knowing that you guys felt you had the championship caliber roster?
I don't really think too much on it. It's that's out of my pay grade. But I just hope that the guys upstairs just continue to just do what they do. And that's put the right guys in a room and on a roster to put ourselves in a position to have a chance. And I just wish nothing but the best of luck to everybody. And whatever's next for us all, I just hope that we all just step right, and with God.
Last one for me. Speaking about the front office bringing in the correct players, how do you think Spencer Brown and Tommy Doyle performed in their rookie seasons?
Man, I love those kids. I love them. I love them. I love them. They are the, what's the word that I can use? They are a cookie cutter. They are, like the sculpture of what a rookie should be like. They came in here. They showed their personality. They kept their mouth shut. They spoke when they were supposed to. They showed their talents when they were supposed to. They took care of the older guys. They were here on time. They didn't complain. They got the job done. And I am excited for those two guys' futures. They are the future. They are the future. And I'm excited to see their growth. And battles are what it is. Like if Tommy and Spence do what they're supposed to do consistently, it pushes guys like me out. So I'm one to always give credit where credit is for sure due. And those guys are the future of tackles in the NFL.
Thank you, Dion. Always appreciate you. Have a great offseason.
Appreciate it, Dante. You too.
D-Dog, a.k.a. the Snowman, Rookie Hawkins.
Big Mooks, man. What did it do?
Oh, man. I'm lucky. Luckily, I'm not bald-headed today, man. I'm just pulling my hair out, but it's the name of the game, nature of the beast, right? But yesterday, I don't think defense really had nothing to do with it, the way these offenses were just red hot, on both sides of the ball. Just give me your overall assessment of yesterday. What do you think?
Truly, Mooks, I would say that we truly had two of the best players that are in control of a football team in one area. And that's Patrick Mahomes and that's Josh Allen. And special things are going to happen. Special moments are going to be made. Special highlights are going to be done. Special things in history books are going to appear. And when you have a fully loaded team like ours and a fully loaded team like the Chiefs, it's a back and forth battle. Like we weren't supposed to go in there and beat them by 80 points. They weren't supposed to go in there and beat us by 80 points. It's I can confidently and respectably and humbly say this now that it's two Goliaths fighting. It's not a Goliath and a little boy anymore. We have showed what type of unit we are, and the world sees it. And I'm definitely happy that the world sees it, but I'm not happy with the result. But with that being said, Mook, it's just when two greats meet, something happens. And there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser, because at the end of it, it's a game that we all play. And there's a winner and a loser in every game. And it sucks that we had to take that shorter end.
Absolutely, man. 2-man inner, 1-man league. We all know how that goes. But we know football is the ultimate team sport, man. But for you to battle COVID not once, but twice, and to, come out, rise to the occasion as a Pro Bowler, man, what did that really mean to you personally?
I don't know, talking about stuff and like that, it brings emotions. You feel me? It's just a testimony of my faith, truly. I had nothing but support, all through it. So I don't even really when I look at the accolades now and all this stuff, I don't even see it in myself. I see everybody in my O-line room, every last person, from the coaches to my center to my guards to all the up and down battles that guys had to deal with. they all poured into me, and we all poured into each other. And it's just a testimony of the type of guys that is here on this Buffalo Bills roster and in this building, that, you know, like we are ones to just keep fighting and keep stepping and just keep trying to do everything the right way, even though that we know nobody's perfect and we're far from it. But I'm beyond thankful. You know, God is definitely, you know, like put me through a lot of tests, and he's held at my hand through the lows and the highs, and that's all I could really, like, you know, ask for, is whatever I'm put through just for him or whoever, like, that godly, like God is, just don't let me go. Like, I'm okay, and with being low, I'm okay with being like at a high, as long as he still just got my hand through it. And, you know, it's just what it is.
True warrior for that, man. I'm letting you know that you're a true warrior for that. But in closing, how does yesterday defeat make this team better, and what are the expectations of this team going into 2022?
Yeah, well, we understand what we're capable of doing at any point, and we obviously see now, even when we have all other pieces that need to get the job done, we have to push a little bit harder. And we should never let a football game be determined from a coin. Like I think that that's the most craziest rule in sports. Like, you could fight your entire fight, the whole game, and then the game comes down to a 50-50 chance of a coin toss. Like, this ain't Vegas. Like, we not at the casino table. Like this ain't no 50-50 bet, and there ain't even no 50-50 bet. And it's just crazy that was the outcome. But going into 2022 season, we just need to just understand that let's just keep everything in our hands, you know, and not a coin's hand. Because when it's in our hands, our hand wins. When it's in a coin's hand, it's a 50-50 chance that shouldn't even be allowed in this game.
Absolutely. And also analytically, right? But hey, man, it's always love every time, Snow, man. And I wish you nothing but the best, and I know you're gonna come back healthy and stronger for next season.
For sure, Mook. I'm gonna see you soon, bro. But you my dog, yo. I'm gonna see you. For sure.
Absolutely, my guy.
Dion, John Warrow, AP.
John, how you doing?
He's just good. You maybe you just figured out that I was going to ask that question about the coin toss, but because that's what my question was going to be about. Given how much of a showdown you talked about, how close you went toe to toe, two very good teams went toe to toe. How empty is that feeling, knowing that the overtime rules are what the overtime rules are? How empty is that feeling, you know, a day later?
It's exactly that. It's a feeling of horrible, if that's even a feeling. But it's just horrible. Like, it's just like how could the game come down to one possession? And if they score, the game is over. If they kick a field goal, the game is not over, and we get a chance. Like it's just weird. Like, if it was my idea, I would put a certain amount of time on the clock, and I would give each team 2 timeouts. I would put a certain amount of time on the clock and just let both teams duke it out. But it shouldn't be a race. Like, oh, the first guy to touch that wall wins. Like, come on now. Like, it is and what it is, but that's what we're dealt with now. So I don't want to make an excuse for it, but, you know, hopefully it'll change.
Right, because the gravity of the situation, I understand, why they do that in the regular season, but this is the playoffs. This is do or die or go home. So the gravity, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just the gravity of walking off that field knowing you guys didn't get to possess the ball one more time.
Yeah, it sucks. Like, it really does. It just sucks. And hopefully, like, they can use us as an example. And since they're talking about in this game so highly, they should definitely reconsider something.
Yeah, because I'd imagine people would stay tuned in, given how how compelling it was watching it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Dion. All the best to you, and congrats good for you for persevering through all you've persevered through this year.
Yeah, appreciate it, John. Thank you, brother.
Hi, Dion. It's Jay with the Buffalo News. With COVID and with injuries, the early part and kind of midway through the season, you guys really had a lot of moving parts on the offensive line, different guys playing different positions. Do you feel like at the end of the season, maybe after Ryan came in, that you really kind of settled on a 5 that could be effective for you? I mean, you guys went 4 games in a row with Josh not being sacked. I know that streak ended yesterday, but do you feel like that you settled on a group up front that really kind of gelled at the right time?
I don't know if I want to answer that right, because if I were to say yes, then it's like basically saying, well, Ike and John don't matter. Like, I think everybody played their role and everybody did what they had to do to get us to the position that we had to get to. And, like, with the guys that we have in that room, I'm okay with that rotation because there's no hiccup. There's no hiccup. And whatever it got to be, I am all for it. I just want to win. I just want to win.
Yeah. Do you plan on playing in the Pro Bowl? Is that something that you're going to do?
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't really think about it yet. It's my first one. So I don't really know what to do. Like this is something that every player dreams of. So I don't want to, throw it in a bucket because and we lost, but I also don't want to go and enjoy something when my teammates are home. Like, that's not really cool. But I'm a figure out what's the right thing. I'm gonna probably call E Wood and Richie and all of my older guys and speak to them. But I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot for your time all season, Dion, and have a good off season.
Yo, but question for you, right? Since you asked me, what do you think that I should do?
You should go and play and enjoy it. If it's your first time, and it's an experience my opinion is it's an experience that, you don't get that chance every season, and guys are always going to, it's what you play for, right? Is to try and get there and to experience new things. So that's what I would do.
Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah. Congrats, man, on your success.
Thank you, brother.
All right, buddy.
Hey, Dion. I wanted to go back to kind of some of that emotional side of you feeling all the support from your teammates, from the organization with everything you were going through this season. Was there anything there that you learned about those guys or the franchise and the way they helped you?
Yeah, that guys actually do care. Going from college to the NFL, the bonds break, like they're just thinner bonds. Like in college, you're with the guys 24/7, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, every workout, every class, every study hall, every meal, every training table, everything. And then you come to the NFL and it's kind of pieces. So to feel that full bond of brotherhood was definitely different. But it basically just brought more respect for the guys that are walking around in this building.
You've mentioned that with players specifically. Where else did you feel it from an organization standpoint of just you getting this? Well, do you have examples of just like you getting all that support you needed?
Well, I can speak on McDermott. And McDermott noticed it, and he pulled me to the side. He checked on me every day, open like conversation, off the record like conversations, organically. Like wasn't like coached to player. It was like man to man, and I respected it. I really did. And after that like conversation, after the conversations that we would have, it kind of like turned on another gear. And he probably doesn't know that I would give him like that credit, but he has no idea what type of leader he is. And he definitely triggered a gear that I needed to kick on this last stretch of the season.
And then just to jump topics for a second, you've touched on how there's some similar themes to how this year ended as compared to last year. Is there anything that feels different as you guys look to build off of this year versus last year?
A loss is a loss, and anytime that we don't win the Super Bowl, it all goes in the same bucket. It really does. We just got to get back to the basics. We literally have to jump off of the mountain that we were climbing and start over. And we have our best foot forward, but it's just time to recover, rebuild, and just get back to fresh start.
Thanks, Dion. Always appreciate your time and insight.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Dion. This is Nick Fierro from SI.com. The offensive line this year, you guys went through quite a transition. And it was during the season. It wasn't, in the preseason. You had 2 new starters introduced. Darryl moved inside, basically 3 new guys. Then when you think about it, and for those who don't play or don't look at it a lot, how difficult is that for an offensive line to do that? From week 1 through week 17 and right week 18 or whatever, and to come out the other end, so much better than you were going in.
It's offensive line is a hard position, and anytime when you have to switch positions, like go from tackle to guard or go from center to guard or anything, it's just a testimony of the guys that are in the room that have their mind available for change. And that's what we have here, guys that are just willing to do whatever it's going to take to get the job done. And I'm just blessed that we have an O-line room that isn't selfish and that did whatever we could do to put ourselves in the best position to win.
Just one more follow-up. You're probably going to lose Coach Daboll to another job. What's he meant to you and to the offense and to this team?
Dave's is my dog, man. That is my dog. Truly love him. I'm thankful for him. He's a real one, but you climb that ladder, and you climb it for a reason. And I'm thankful. I'm blessed for him to be able to even have the opportunity to move on. And nothing is set in stone yet. So I still have however long I can still call him my coordinator. So I'm not ready to push over that name yet. But Dave is my offensive coordinator still. And wherever he ends up, it'll be a special gift from us to wherever the heck he goes. But we love Dave's and we're thankful for him. And you know, people tried to bash him too. People tried to throw him through the fire, but he just kept stepping, and now people are like, Dave was in first place for head coaching job. So, you know, it's just the words of the world that, you know, you have to have thick skin in this league, and Daboll is one of those guys that has that thick skin. But I know that I'm rambling, but I'm thankful for him. I truly am.
Thanks, Dion. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all for today. Thank you, Dion.
Cool.